Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Some extremist Christians, these missionaries, they are coming up with something new regarding Prophet Muhammad, and many anti-Islamists apart from these Christian missionaries are repeating the same thing over and over again, and they claim that the Prophet Muhammad, he practiced placing his male member between the thighs of Aisha when she was 6 years old, and they give a couple of references. One of the most famous references that they use is an audio recording of a fatwa which states someone has placed a question and the person is replying in the form of a fatwa. This audio recording is basically available on a Christian website. It is a Christian website in Arabic, and this website hosts this audio file. So as far as the authenticity of the audio file is concerned, it can hardly be taken as to be authentic because it is being hosted by a Christian site only. But we will go through this, the supposed fatwa which is there on this website in this audio file, and we are going to analyze the fatwa and then refute the claims of these Christian missionaries, these extremist Christians. So the questioner has asked that it has become widespread these days, and especially during weddings, the habit of mufakhafat of the children. Mufakhafat, literally translated, means placing between the thighs, which means placing the male member between the thighs of a child. What is the opinion of scholars, knowing full well that the Prophet, the peace and prayers of Allah be on him, also practiced the tying of Aisha, the mother of believers, may Allah be pleased with her? After the committee, now the fatwa part comes in. After the committee studied the issue, they gave the following reply. It has not been the practice of the Muslims throughout the centuries to resort to this unlawful practice that has come to our countries from pornographic movies that the kuffar and enemies of Islam send. As for the Prophet, peace and prayer of Allah be on him, tying his fiancée Aisha, she was 6 years of age and he could not have intercourse with her due to her small age. That is why the Prophet, peace and prayer of Allah be on him, placed his male member between her thighs and massaged it softly, as the Apostle of Allah had control of his male member, not like other believers. Now the translation that you would normally find misses a last part, which is that so it is not allowed for mufakhafat for Muslims, not on weddings or public occasion, homes or schools. Now let's forget who is hosting this fatwa and let's analyze this. Firstly, the questioner is assuming and has made or alleging that the Prophet used to practice this. The questioner of himself has not given any evidence that it was practiced by the Prophet, and the questioner is basically not required to give the evidence because maybe he has heard from somewhere or maybe from someone. But the interesting part about the fatwa is that they have not given any reference either. There is not a single reference given which would state that the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, practiced this. And more interestingly, the fatwa starts off as, it has not been the practice of the Muslims throughout the centuries to resort to this unlawful practice. So over here the fatwa is making 2 points without giving any evidence. The first point that it's making is that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, practiced this. The second point which the fatwa is making is that the practice is unlawful, and from the latter part of the fatwa we find that, which you will not find online in these translations, it is stated that the practice is unlawful for the Muslims. But if the Prophet practiced it, then there has to be an authentic hadith that states that the Prophet practiced it. Not only has that hadith got to say that the Prophet practiced it, but the hadith also has to mention that it is unlawful. So there are two assumptions being made without any evidence being given. Now I would like to ask these Christian missionaries, these extremist Christian missionaries, that I challenge you to show me one authentic Sahih Hadith which has this information. The Hadith has to have the information that the Prophet practiced it with Aisha when she was 6 years of age. If you fail to produce any such evidence, then it is useless for you to repeat like a parrot over and over again these same lines, because as long as there is no Sahih Hadith which can prove this, this is not the part of Islam. So bring forth the Sahih Hadith or remain silent. These teachings are actually found in the Talmud, in the Mishnah, where it states that a child 3 years and 1 day of age can be betrothed by sexual intercourse. And Gemara, which is also part of the Talmud, actually confirms this, and it states a rabbi is taught a girl of the age 3 years may be betrothed by intercourse. So these are actually teachings which are found in the Talmud, but the Christian missionaries, they don't have any evidence, because these people, they have become so desperate because they cannot argue on theological issues, because it is very difficult for them to explain the theology of Christianity. They cannot even explain the Trinity. So they cannot argue on and discuss on theological issues. They cannot discuss on the Muslim word of God, that is the Quran, and the Christian word of God, that is the Bible. They cannot discuss on that. So now they run to anything that they can lay their hands upon, even if it has no evidence attached to it. I repeat my challenge, bring me one Sahih Hadith. You people have access to all the books of the Sahih Sitta. Bring me one Sahih Hadith that states that the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, practiced it. If you cannot bring a single Sahih Hadith, acknowledge your failure and quit repeating these things like parrots, because you are going to bring a bad name not only to Christianity but also to all the other Christians who are sincere in having a dialogue on theological and intelligent issues. There is not a single Sahih Hadith that mentions this. This is not even part of the Sharia. If it's not part of the Sharia, that means there is no authentic evidence that the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, practiced this act. So if you claim that he did, the burden of the evidence is on you, it lies on you, burden of proof is on you. Bring forth the Sahih Hadith. And I know for a fact that no extremist Christian missionary will ever be able to bring forth the Sahih Hadith, because there is no such Sahih Hadith which states this. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.